This is Marty Stewart with SeminarSecrets.com. You can hear the complete version of this big seminar interview by going to www.SeminarSecrets.com.
My name is Armand Morin, and today we're going to talk about how to double your sales in 60 days or less. Now, what I want you to do right now is simply grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, open up a notepad on your computer, open up a Word document, however you want to take notes, open it up, get ready to take notes, because we're going to talk about things that usually I don't get a chance to talk about, and that is really how to increase your sales, how to double your sales. And we're going to talk about every part of your website, from your opt-in list, we're going to talk about to the actual sales page itself. It's all going to be about getting sales. We're not going to talk about creating products. We're going to talk about actually how to increase the amount of sales that you're getting right now. So we're going to get started right now. In fact, let me get the call officially started. Again, welcome everyone today. My name is Armand Morin. You're on the Big Seminar preview series. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get right into the call. I'm going to give you a commercial about the seminar about halfway through. It's really simple. In fact, I'm going to give you my commercial now. If you'd like to come to the seminar, go to BigSeminar.com and click the order button. That's the commercial. So, with that said, let's move on to the call itself. Today's call is titled How to Double Your Sales in 60 Days or Less. So, what do you need to double your sales? The majority of the things that we're going to be doing and talking about today are going to have to do with your website. We're going to be talking about ad copy. We're going to be talking about order pages. We're going to be talking about order links. We're going to be talking about how to get the customer, once they come to your website, to buy more products, more services from you today. Because, you know, a lot of people will say, well, I want two things to happen when I come to a website. I either want the person to subscribe to my opt-in list, or I want the person to order. Well, I'm here to tell you, a bunch of bull. All I want is one thing. I want the person to order my product or service, and that's it. That's great that I have a person on my opt-in list, but you know what? That person today doesn't make me money today. Sure, they may be of benefit to me in the future, but ultimately, I'm assuming that when a person comes to my website, they're never, ever, ever going to come back again. Now, there's some things that I can make it easier for them to come back, but if you treat that person like that you're never, ever going to see them again, you're going to do everything in your power to get them to order today. That's the key, urgency and today. So we need to formulate our website, we need to formulate our web strategy in a way that's going to get people to order from us today, not tomorrow, not next week, not after they receive 3 email messages from us, but today. Do you see the point? Okay. So what do we need to start off with and what we need to do? Well, one of the many things that I've found in online marketing is order links. And now let me talk about order links for you. After I discovered this simple step, it really made a huge difference in my business. And I'm going to give you several different examples of how this works. And I'm going to give them to you right from my own websites, because those are what I use to make money with, and those are the things that I test on a daily basis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that you already have a website currently, and you're in the process of trying to market your product or service online. You know, after spending, about 7 years online now, I've had many problems with a few minor adjustments that could be corrected. And you, as the website owner, are really losing thousands of dollars in revenue by following some misguided information. So the order links themselves are the most misunderstood item on a web page. Now, there's a few schools of thought when it comes to order links. Now, one, there's no order links in your ad copy at all until the bottom of the web page itself. Okay? That's the one thing. And if you look at many sites, many people go by this. Now, the second school of thought is several order links throughout your whole page, or I should say sparingly throughout your whole page, because some people are afraid to really ask for the order. They feel if they ask for the order that they're going to turn off the person's going to go away. Now, this is farthest from the truth, okay? And here's what I mean. Let me walk you through a typical sales process. Okay, offline or offline, online or offline, I should say, it doesn't matter. The process is exactly the same by your customer. Your customer is going to think this way every time that they come to buy something. Okay, here's what happens. A person comes to your site, they see your headline, and hopefully your headline is appealing to them enough that they're going to read the rest of what you have to say on your sales letter. Now, hopefully you've structured your sales letter in chunks. Okay, and what I mean by a chunk is each section of your sales letter is its own mini sales letter. Okay? Now, I'm going to come back to this part. Again, remember, chunks. That's what we're going to talk about in a second, because the chunks is this key to this whole process. So a sales letter chunk, we're going to talk about that in a second. Now, let's get back to the actual process, and then I'm going to come back to the chunks. The person comes to your website, they read your headline, which starts them into this whole process of climbing up the ladder of value. Okay, it's called the ladder of value, and here's what I mean. The more they read, the more interested they become. It means the higher they go up the ladder. You ask them to order your product now, somewhere on your website, and all of a sudden their interest drops. Okay, it doesn't drop totally away. It just drops a little bit because they were asked to buy something. That's a natural reaction. But it doesn't drop as low as when they first came to your website. So in order, we've built up a little bit of value in our prospects' minds while maintaining their interest. So now they read the next chunk. Okay, and again, I'll explain all about the chunk in a second. Again, we cover a different aspect of our product or a different aspect of our service, and hopefully it's one that hits our hot spots, one of their hot spots. Once more, we ask them to purchase. Their interest drops again, so they go down another rung on the ladder, but they didn't go all the way to the bottom. See, because we've built more value in our product, so they're now closer to actually buying. We repeat this process maybe 9 to 12 times or slightly more throughout the sales letter, and if we did a good job of explaining our product or service, at the end or sooner, our prospect will purchase. Do you see how it works? Do you see what I'm saying? It means it's like they're climbing up a hill. They fall down a little bit, but they didn't fall to the bottom of the hill. They go back up the hill again, and then all of a sudden they fall a little bit, but again, not as far as they were down before. Again, they go up the hill again, and then they go back down again. Again, they go up the hill again, they fall again, but they don't go back down all the way. They get to a point where they continue. They made it to the top of the hill, and at the top of the hill is when they actually bought your product or service. The whole process of an actual sales letter is to build value in what you have. A person comes to your site, they have zero value. That's zero value as far as your product and service goes. As they come up, they read about your product and service, you've built a little bit of value. As they read more, you build a little bit more value. As they read more, you build a little bit more value in your product or service, and they're trying to justify if your product or service is worth the price that you're asking for it. So what you're really weighing out is how much value you have on one side as opposed to your price. Does the value equal as much as your price or more than your price? When you get to the point where it's a fair exchange, that they received enough value for that price, that's when the person goes to purchase your product or service. Now, how many times do you have to actually go through this process? Well, what I discovered is that you actually have to go through this process in about 9 to 12 times on a website. That's about what the average person what takes the average person to go through the page. So, the question really is how many order links should there be on the page? So let's first define what an order link is. Now, when I say an order link, I'm referring to the number of times you have a link or a button going directly to your order page. Okay? Each time you give the potential prospect a way to actually enter their credit card and information to purchase your product or service. So an order link could be as simple as a click here now to order today, or maybe a button with some similar type of phrasing. So how many order links should be on your website? Now, let me ask you this first before we even go any further. Right now, I want you to write this down. This is what I call a to-do action. Write down how many order links are on your website right now. At this point in time, if you went to your website, how many times would you ask me to purchase your product or service by the time I finished reading your sales letter? And if you haven't, that number, keep it in mind, because now I'm going to bet that there's less than a total of 5 order links to your order page. Okay? Now, chances are I'm probably right. In fact, or you have 5 or less. And the reason is because when I do my research on the internet, what I'm telling you is not just all pure theory. I went out and I looked at the number of order links on other people's websites. And then when I looked at the number of order links on other people's websites, I actually found that most of them have only 3 or less going directly to the order page. So ask yourself this question. It's very simple. Why? I mean, seriously, why do you only have 5 or less or 3 or less or whatever number of order links you have to your order page on your site right now? Why did you do it that way? So and also, who told you to put that many, or should I say that few, order links on your page? No one probably told any of you that. Chances are you're probably right now you don't know why you have that few on your page. And that's okay, so don't worry. That's why you're on this call right now. As we review each part of this whole process that we're going to talk about today, it's not just me telling you what to do. That's a quick fix, because as long as I'm around and you can get information from me, then you just say, well, let's see what else he has to say. The most important part is to teach you why, understand the psychology of what you do on your sales process, and understand the psychology of what you want your customers to do on that sales process. So you have to understand what you're doing, and you have to realize what you're doing. You just can't do it. You have to have a reason why behind it. And, hopefully we're going to have, as you do this process, you're going to have several types of those aha-type moments, and you're going to finally realize that you're doing everything wrong in some cases. And I've had many of those moments where all of a sudden it became crystal clear to me, holy crap, I'm doing this wrong. What the heck am I doing this for? So, back to the point. Okay, so realize what you're doing and understand that. So don't feel bad if you only have 3 to 5 order links. It just means you're doing what probably most of the people you've seen have done in the past. And you maybe just seen someone else's page and you just copied it. Or you might have seen a website that you know is selling pretty well and you copied that. And that's okay. That's what most of us do when we got online. That's what I did. I copied existing order pages from people that I assumed were making money on the page. Okay, again, keyword is assumed they were making money. I didn't know for sure that they were making any money from their sales letter. So how many order links should you have? Well, in order to understand this properly, you have to realize this. For example, I'm from the direct sales industry. I actually sold vacuum cleaners for about 5 years. I owned a vacuum cleaner store. We actually went door to door selling vacuum cleaners, and I really got quite good at it after a while. And it was really one of the best experiences, and it taught me a lot about people. And that's what you have to know when you're selling on the internet. You have to know about people. Now, one thing I learned that in any direct sales situation, whether online or offline, you need to ask for the sale in a variety of different ways and get a lot of what I would refer to as trial closes out of the way before you get to the final close, meaning where the person actually buys. Now, let me define a trial close when it comes to your website. A trial close means they read one of your chunks, and that reminds me I have to come back to the chunks. They read one of your chunks, and then after it says, if you'd like to do this, this, and this, then click here to order now. Okay? That's a trial close. That wasn't the definitive close because I know I'm going to ask them again several times throughout the ad copy. That's a trial close, and we're going to have to go through several of those in many cases in order to make our sale happen. So let's go back to the chunks so you understand the chunks concept. It's what I call chunk marketing. And this refers to exactly what your ad copy is. Sales copy Most people don't know the proper sequence in order to write a sales copy. And remember that ladder process that I talked about, and I give you the different analogies of people going up a mountain and falling down, and going up a sales ladder and coming down a little bit each time where you're building value? Well, the way that you do that in your ad copy is by writing your sales letter in chunks. Now, let me give you some ideas on how to write a sales letter, because this is important. The words sell. It's the most important part on your whole website. But let's just walk through a couple different steps. It starts off with your headline, and then basically a brief introduction, and then it gets into the actual benefits of your product, the different features, I should say, of your product. In your sales letter, you're probably going to have between 5 to 7 different features of your product listed. There's going to be 5 or 6 different segments that you're going to highlight among all the other things that your sales letter does. These are the major points, okay? And each one of those, you're going to go into detail about it. So you're going to start off with feature number 1, and you're going to detail. It may last a paragraph or 2 paragraphs. It doesn't matter how long it lasts, as long as you explain it thoroughly to your prospect. But at the end of that section, and at the end of that chunk, you're going to ask the person to buy. And what you have to do is you have to rephrase the actual feature. For example, if you were on my website, let's say it was ebook generator, okay? You come to the top part of the website, and let's say I'm not on the site now, so let's just say that I talk about how to secure your ebooks so no one can rip you off. So at the end of that section, I'm going to tell people, well, if you'd like to stop digital thieves in their tracks immediately and have your product totally prepared to not, that's really bad wording. Let me go to the website. I'll give you some great examples from the website, because this is what I actually have on there. This tells you it's a Saturday and I can't talk off the top of my head at all. Okay, for example, one of my sections says you'll receive lifetime free upgrades. Okay, and then it goes into this whole thing about lifetime. Give people lifetime free upgrades, and they're going to get it for obviously for the rest of their life. And then after that, it says click here to start your own ebook publishing empire. That my chunk was you'll receive lifetime free upgrades. I told them what it is, and it says click here to start your own ebook publishing empire. That was my chunk. And then I go into several different aspects of the product. Now I go through a chunk. My features and benefits are laid out in a big chunk, but halfway through my features and benefits, it says, when you place your order today, you will get a 7-day free e-course on the best ways to create and publish your own material online. Why are you waiting? Click here to get started right now. So I gave them a feature and a benefit, and then I asked them to order. You see, it has to be structured in that way in order to make sense to the user. Because you have to, the reason why you divide your sales letter into chunks is because you're building value. You're hitting different hot spots with them. If you push the right button as to what appeals to them, that's why that's why long sales letters work. You see, we don't know what the end user is going to be interested in with our product. It might be the most crazy thing about your product or service, but that's what gets them excited about it. And so then when they get excited about it, that's when they're more apt to buy. So we get them excited, and when they're at their peak, where they're most excited, that's the point where we hit them. Okay? And we can say things like, this feature is only available in ebook generator code. You can't find this anywhere else on the internet. Take advantage of this new technology today. Click here now to start tracking your ebooks. And that was I explained to them the feature above that, and then I brought them into this. My segue into the click to order was the previous line I just read. You see, we're just kind of summing up what we just said, but we're putting it into a benefit-laden statement where.
You have just listened to a portion of this BigSeminar interview. To get the complete version, simply go to www.seminarsecrets.com. Find out how you can attend the next Internet Marketing Big Seminar. And for a very special offer you can't refuse, visit www.seminarsecrets.com.